In the vast expanse of our world, there exist ancient places that, hidden high above in the air, deny easy access. The allure of these places beckons us to explore the ingenuity and dedication of ancient civilizations. Join us as we embark on a daring exploration of 5 mysterious and difficult-to-reach locations where the sky meets the earth in extraordinary ways. Gangkhar Puensum. The 2011 Hollywood film Killer Mountain depicted the Bhutan mountain Gangkhar Puensum as a mystical mountain where alien powers resided. But what if you found out that in reality, the situation is not much different? Gangkhar Puensum remains a mystery, for it is the tallest mountain in the world that has never been scaled, and legends suggest that otherworldly powers are responsible for it. Inhabitants in the vicinity have reported the occurrence of bizarre events, such as hearing strange noises to seeing mysterious lights and apparitions. Standing majestically at a whopping altitude of 7,570 meters, the Gangkhar Puensum also goes by the mysterious name White Peak of the Three Spiritual Brothers. This peculiar name adds to its already enigmatic nature. Since Bhutan opened its doors to mountaineering in 1983, 4 expeditions have been attempted, but none were successful. But the climbs were always thwarted by nature's forces, strong winds, frostbite, and the dangers of scaling the hazardous final ridge which leads to the Gangkhar Puensum's snowy dome. In 1986, a team from Britain had to turn back due to an early winter jet stream. An Austrian expedition also had to abandon the attempt due to severe monsoon weather. According to the locals who hail from the nearby highlands of Laya and Lunana, the mountains are regarded as sacred places and dwellings for deities and spirits who do not want to be disturbed. Defilement of the summit meant that the wrath of gods would manifest themselves in the form of bad weather and spread of diseases. Thus, in 1994, out of respect for local spiritual beliefs, a law was implemented in Bhutan that put a ban on climbers to scale mountains higher than 6,000 meters. But the fact that the Gangkhar Puensum is untouchable has made it all the more mysterious. The Bhutanese also believe that the Gangkhar Puensum is home to the mythical Yeti and other legendary creatures. What adds to its mystery further is a notion that the peak is connected to the mystical immortal land in the Himalayas called Shangri-La that has been mentioned in many ancient texts. But despite numerous efforts, even with modern equipment, Shangri-La has never been found. To this day, the Gangkhar Puensum remains one of the few mountains never to have been conquered. Not being able to find out what lies atop its snowy dome keeps the imagination of adventurers and explorers fired up. Buna Yaru. Buna Yaru is a rock-hewn painted cave temple atop a towering sandstone pinnacle in Ethiopia, located at a height of 2,580 meters. The church is named after Father Yamata, a priest who carved the church out of the cliff face in the 5th century single-handedly. To this day it baffles one and all as to how it could be built all those centuries ago, that too single-handedly. Reaching this church in the sky requires a brave heart effort that entails scaling the cliff face of the sandstone pinnacle that has a 650-foot drop. The monolithic place of worship is said to be the world's most inaccessible and dangerous church, reachable only after a 45-minute ascent. And that ascent is no simple one. The journey has cliff faces to scale, rickety bridges to cross, and narrow ledges to traverse. After crossing through the valley that underlies the church, you must ascend the half-mile-high sandstone pinnacle, searching for rare hand and footholds cut into the rock to avoid the long drop. To make matters worse, you then have to cross a natural stone bridge with a sheer drop on either side. And when you manage to cross that stone bridge, you are confronted by a fine, narrow wooden footbridge. And if that in itself isn't enough to inspire fear, the route passes by an open-air tomb filled with the skeletal remains of deceased priests. But once you reach the top, it's a different world. If the gorgeous views of the valley from the top isn't enough to take your breath away, the interior of the church surely will. The cave's ceiling is covered with beautiful frescoes, featuring intricate patterns, religious imagery, and the faces of 9 of the 12 apostles of Christ. Adding to its wonder, the paintings are considered to be one of the earliest depictions of the Bible and are considered by experts to be dating back to early days of Christianity. The church also contains an Orthodox Bible with vibrant, colorful sheets made of goatskin. Buna Yaru Church is so sacred that some Ethiopian parents even risk bringing their babies all the way to the top of the cliff to have them baptized there. According to sources, there was a time the priests traded reading the Bible to the nearest inhabitants in exchange for water in an attempt to descend as little as possible. If stories are to be believed, some monks haven't descended in decades. Machu Picchu. The Inca site of Machu Picchu, located near Cusco in Peru, is often called the Lost City of the Incas. Situated 2,430 meters above sea level in the Andes, these ruins were rediscovered on July 24, 1911, by Hiram Bingham, an American explorer and archaeologist from Yale University. After being abandoned for 400 years, this ancient site, meaning Old Mountain in the local language, is considered one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Despite its discovery more than a century ago, Machu Picchu remains a subject of academic debate, with archaeologists and historians still discussing its origins. An ancient and arduous Incan trail leads to the city, believed to have been constructed around 1400 AD by King Pachacuti. However, local legends suggest that Machu Picchu may have been built even earlier. The purpose and builders of this sacred place are still unclear. Machu Picchu consists of over 200 structures, including buildings, temples, houses, pathways, fountains, and altars, all crafted from gray granite sourced from the mountaintop. Surprisingly, there are no fortified walls, indicating that it was not a fortress. The precision with which the stones were cut and fitted together without the use of mortar is astonishing. Some of these stone blocks weigh more than 50 tons, leaving experts amazed at the ancient Incas' engineering prowess. Archaeologists have put forth various hypotheses regarding the purpose of Machu Picchu. One theory suggests that it served as an astronomical observatory, with a specific stone known as the Intihuatana stone at the highest point of the site used to mark the equinoxes and other celestial events accurately. Unfortunately, there are no written clues or carvings in Machu Picchu, proving that this was the only purpose of the site. Local shamanic legends also attribute spiritual significance to this stone, believing that touching it with one's forehead opens a gateway to the spirit world. But as technology advances, new progress is being made in understanding this enigma of ancient architecture. In 2011, the archaeologist Thierry Jamin joined forces with a French engineer called David Crespi, who, during a visit to Machu Picchu in 2010, noticed a door-like feature amongst the ruins. It was reported that their work seemingly confirmed that there were several rooms hidden under the ruins. Their results led them to believe these rooms were filled with metal, gold, and silver. Having requested permission to open the door, which they hypothesized was the tomb of Pachacuti, their requests were denied by the authorities, leaving the mystery unsolved, till now. More than a century after archaeological explorations began in Machu Picchu, the ancient Inca ruins are still revealing their secrets. Parakang Bhutan. This temple complex hangs far up on a cliff overlooking the Paro Valley in Bhutan that is steeped in mystery and legend. It is one of 13 small monasteries, or tiger layers, where the Buddhist master Padmasambhava, also known as Guru Rinpoche, is said to have meditated. As legend has it, Padmasambhava arrived at Parakang on a flying tiger in the 8th century. He then meditated in a cave high on the mountain for months, after which he subdued the local demons and began the conversion of the Bhutanese to Buddhism. In the modern day, getting to the tiger's nest is not for the faint of heart. There is a 2-hour climb from the valley base, which is already quite high at 7,000 feet, to the tiger's nest at 10,000 feet above sea level. As one climbs the well-maintained but very steep trail over ever more vertical switchbacks, the monastery seems to appear and disappear in and out of sight due to the trees and the mist giving it magical touch. After 2 hours of a long, slow climb, one arrives at the entrance to the tiger's nest, a rock outcropping overlooking a vast crater with the monastery on the other side. Beneath the cape of rock, and across the crater from the monastery, the cliff drops a couple of thousand feet to the gorge below. Carved into the exposed cliff face are stone steps, while handrails have only recently been added. Imagine traversing the steps without any protection, with the rock face on one side and a huge drop on the other. This is the way to the Tiger's Nest Monastery. But the experience inside makes the dangerous trek worth it. Visitors can enter Parakang and climb the several levels within, which contain 3 temples and a spectacular view. High and deep inside the temple is the major attraction, the site where Padmasambhava is said to have meditated for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, and 3 hours before departing the Kingdom of Tibet in the early 9th century. Visitors have reported that you can feel the chill breath coming from inside the cave, making for a near-haunting experience. Does the spirit of Padmasambhava still reside there? Church of Katskhi Pillar, Georgia. Sitting atop a 130-foot stone pillar, the Church of Katsky has been listed as one of the 20 most bizarre-looking churches in the world, and even ranked second on the list of 11 most incredible cliff buildings. For years, mystery has surrounded the Katskhi Pillar in Georgia, as it remains unknown how the church got on top of the monolith limestone structure, or who first built it. The enigmatic structure is viewed in local legend as a pillar of life and a symbol of the true cross, upon which Jesus was crucified in the Bible. Adding to the mystery is the fact that it was only in 1944 that researchers were able to climb and survey the site for the first time in many centuries and reveal some of its secrets. They reported finding the remains of 2 churches dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries. But more recent studies have dated the church back to the 9th or 10th century. The mysterious chapel is situated around 125 miles from Georgia's capital city Tbilisi, in the village of Katsky, near Chiatura, in western Georgia. The next part of the pilgrimage is done by foot and consists of a hike before reaching the base of the stone pillar. And when you reach the base, you are faced with a 20-minute climb up a narrow steel ladder, if visitors are allowed to make the ascent at all, that is, since only monks are now allowed to go to the cliff top. It's so difficult to reach that an 18th century Georgian scholar wrote how nobody is able to ascend the pillar, nor does anyone know how to do so. Little wonder, then, that no other written accounts of monastic life or ascents survive. But one of the legends associated with the church has it that the top of the rock was connected by a long iron chain to the dome of the Katsky church, located at a distance of around 1.5 kilometers from the pillar. A monastery at the bottom of the structure has been dedicated to Maximus the Confessor, a monk born in 580 AD. Along with the monastery, a crypt, a wine cellar, 3 hermit cells, and a small fortification also still stand. In the 1990s, religious life on top of the pillar was revived, and in 2005, the monastery was rebuilt. Its current inhabitant is Maxim Kavtaradze, a middle-aged monk who chose God's path and made the abandoned spiritual dwelling his home in 1993 after being released from jail. He wanted to meditate and repent for his sins. He has since found his unhampered connection with God. To date, no one knows about the origins of the structure, nor does anyone know who built it and how. As we soar above these ancient enigmas, we're reminded that the past holds secrets we have yet to fully unravel. Whether etched into desert plains, perched atop pillars, or glued high up into the cliffside, these high-altitude mysteries continue to captivate our imagination. Perhaps someday the winds will whisper their secrets, and the skies will yield their answers. Until then, we remain spellbound by the mysteries of the ancients. To continue your ancient adventures, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button. Till the next time, this is Ancient Secrets.